This video is called Ron Paul Yes or Ron Paul No. And it's an objective analysis of what Ron Paul really is and the myth of Ron Paul. And what I expect is not to get this hysterical kind of attitude in comments in which you say, oh, you fucking asshole, and stuff like this. I would like people that really justify why they support Ron Paul based on facts, not based on their emotion. And what I'm trying to put here is facts, and what I try to put here is also my respect for Ron Paul as a candidate. Probably is the only Republican candidate that I really respect. Actually, the only candidate that I respect in the Republican Party. The other ones, I don't respect them at all. They are not even candidates for me. They have no substance to be candidates. So that's my point. Let's analyze in details what's good and what's wrong in Ron Paul, in his way he positions himself. And let's work together on that and see if it really can solve the problem compared to Obama or not. What I like about Ron Paul that is so interesting is the fact that Ron Paul positioned himself as a candidate with a certain idea about opening up the market, but mostly on foreign politics that I totally approve. Even people like Chomsky approve. Nobody couldn't agree more with Ron Paul about foreign politics. It's obvious, it's so evident. I mean, he clarified very well during the Tea Party debate what he thinks about America's role in the last years, since practically the influence of the CIA in South America. What's the role of the CIA in South America, and why they go around pissing off all the country around, and at the very end the answer from the people in the world is we have enough. You know, imperialism is not dissimilar from colonialism, and both colonialism and imperialism, as the Romans, the French and the British taught us, they don't last more than 300 years. You have the peak and then go down. And America is in this going down attitude, unless America doesn't change its attitude respect to the world. I personally don't think that Obama is an imperialist kind of guy, because if you look at Libya, if you look at what's going on, he tried to put much more the US as an allied to other countries, not as imposing US will as Republicans, presidents and other presidents, even Democrats, they did before. But I know mass hysteria sometimes bring people not to see the facts and just to see what they want to see. So it will be very difficult anyway if by chance Ron Paul would be elected to put in practice quickly what he thinks we have to do: removing the troops from the other countries, stop investing in military. Yes, in theory these are wonderful things. These are campaign things. Everybody during their campaign can say whatever they want. In practice, dismantling the Pentagon, removing the troops from 50 countries all around without any impact on the hundreds of allied in worldwide, that's not that easy. You know, I would have loved that Obama speed up the procedure and move his ass out of Afghanistan as quick as possible. But on the other hand, I understand that when a certain kind of lack of equilibrium, lack of stability is being created by George W. Bush, it doesn't take 3 minutes to remove all that shit out of that. And the other thing that I love about him is about the legalizing marijuana, legalize the drugs, because I think that we can tax on that and we can get money out of it, and it would be a lot of billions of dollars coming out of that, which is pretty cool. So I totally respect that, and I respect the position about the Fed. But even in that case, we have to be thinking seriously what it means and what. And now, why Ron Paul? No, because even if he is supported by Democrats in his foreign politics, and a lot of them support him on the drug, a lot of them actually, they support on the Fed, the control of the Fed. On the other hand, as soon as you talk about domestic policies, I definitely think that he will be completely not supported by the totality of the Democrats, and for obvious reasons that I want to explain. What he's trying to do with giving the states the power, reduce the federal government power, removing all the regulation and so on, is totally against what in the economy is happening right now to be successful. First of all, he talks about big government, but the reality of the fact is that the federal government today doesn't have such a big power to do anything. It can provide regulations that in general the states, they then decide if they want to use it or not, and as well as the healthcare plan. I mean, finally are the states that decide. So what's the power of the federal government? It's just giving people some sort of indication, some sort of guidelines of things that should be done to help the people. Talking about the real big government is the state level, and this Ron Paul doesn't talk about that, and nobody talks about that. The state level is the one that really should create jobs. It's not the federal level. But they complain about Obama not creating jobs, which is not even true, because actually, if you look at the facts, he created more than 2 million jobs. And we are losing jobs in the public sectors, not in the private sector, since the Tea Party governors are in place, which is the truth, because they start firing a lot of people, thousands and thousands of people in the public sector. If you look at the real numbers and you go analyzing the numbers, now the number of people that are hired in the private sector are exactly the same number of people that are fired in the public sector. So there is no job growth. And also the corporation that got so many tax cuts, and even more tax cuts at state level, because all the money of the bailout has gone in the pockets of the governor, that they used instead to support transportation plans, infrastructure plans, and so on. They gave it as a tax cut to the corporations. Honestly, I don't see where these corporations are investing this money for jobs. Did you see jobs? They are creating jobs. They are doing anything for that because they got the money. Everybody is complaining about that. They got the money. They are using the money. That's the truth. They are having that money and they are not using. So why are you blaming Obama on that? I think you should blame the states. Those are the people that should be blamed. It's easy to blame, to have a scapegoat for everything. It's a little bit childish actually as attitude, that you find one scapegoat if nothing goes well. Well, people have to understand one major thing. If they thought that with this economic crisis we could solve the problems in a couple of years, they are wrong. Before 2015 we will not see anything, and not because of Obama. The state create huge government. New Jersey Governor Christie increased transportation cost of 50% and cut taxes to the rich people, and they are not investing money, and this is a fact. In Ohio, they are changing the rules for voters to go and vote, so limiting voting rights, not to talking of bargaining rights of the unions, which, I mean, it's a freedom to do whatever you do. I mean, Isn't that America, that you have the freedom to do what you want to do? Well, and the point is that liberty is a great theory and a great, wonderful word, but in practice, when you have total privatization worldwide, we notice that it never worked. Especially when Ron Paul talks about those countries during the period of the colonials, talking about the dictator in South America, they used total privatization and they went down badly in their politics. And the last three Republican presidents, they also went down, considering the fact that they started their economy in a much better situation than Obama, actually in a prosperous situation, and not only they didn't create jobs, but they increased debt. So those kind of strategy don't work by definition at all. So limiting freedom at state level, limiting civil rights, increasing taxes, this is big government. Why people, they don't talk about that? This is huge government. So you are the person that talk about the fascism, totalitarianism at federal level, and you don't talk about fascism and totalitarianism at local level? Well, there's a big contradiction on that, a huge contradiction. And to be realistic, talking about economics, the AAA countries in the world today, they are Switzerland, Austria, Sweden, France, Germany, Finland, Denmark, Australia, New Zealand, Canada. They all have universal services. They are much less in recession than the United States. They are much wealthier. Their middle class is strong. They invest in transportation, infrastructures, education, healthcare, everything, alternative energy. And they have zero criminality, and they have zero poverty, not zero, but very low level poverty. So why I should use a model like Ron Paul model that doesn't work? So why I should use a model that doesn't work and never been applied in the United States? Even the famous Austrian theories of libertarians, they're not being applied even in Austria, and thank God. Because Austria actually is a very wealthy country, and they have universal service, and they invest in ecology, they invest in infrastructure and so on. They are very solid middle class. Thank God they didn't use that. So these theories are great, and the ideal situation that we are in the far west in which everybody is responsible is not applicable, because pretending that 300 million people, they are all equally responsible for themselves and they all equally know what to do is impossible, considering the level of education in the country and considering the level of situation which only the very rich people can afford to have private services, because if you don't have insurance, you can pay anyway for an operation. Poor people that go bankrupt, people that are in foreclosure, they cannot afford to have an insurance. And always remember, in Europe, for one job, 40 hours work, and all the services, they pay 100 times less than in the United States. 100 times less for one job. Yes, exactly. In those countries, the triple A countries, they pay in taxes 100 times less than what you pay in the United States, or we pay in the United States in premiums and loans for zero services. I paid $250 for my studies, and I graduated as an engineer. In the United States, you pay $50,000 for your college. I can speak 4 languages. I travel all over the world. I moved to the United States not as an immigrant, but as a business person. My American dream was in Europe, in those countries, not in Italy where I was born. Because Italy actually, today, they are applying exactly what the Tea Party rules are. And look where they are. Look where Italy is today. They are bankrupting Europe. Germany has to bail out Italy. Remember, Ron Paul is a great person, but